Hello out there. It's Friday. Holy moly. Oh. What did I do? What did I press? It's Friday. Things are off to a tough start here. Okay, it's Friday. The hat's crooked. We're scrambling. I'm out of breath. I don't know why I'm out of breath. But good morning, everybody. Bitcoin Q&A episode 28. I thought it was 25 yesterday, but I was wrong. What should we do for our goal today? Fat Zap Friday. Let's do that one. What's up, Zap.stream? What is up, YouTube? And what is up to everybody who watches and listens afterwards on the Fountain app? Okay, let me get my bearings here a bit. We got a live audience today once again. Arn. There he is. Live member of the audience today. We got Arnie in the house. And we're going to have a good show today. We got some great questions that people sent in on the YouTubes. Too many questions today. But just like we do every Friday. Oh, no, I don't have my coffee. 2 days in a row. 2 days in a row. So the question is here. Do I go grab the coffee? Or do I leave it for today? I don't think I can do another show without coffee. Thankfully, I do have pants on. So this shouldn't be too big of an issue, but I might go grab it in a sec. Let's start with the metrics. Actually, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to reward those who are here right now because I wanted to do a test to see if the Bitcoin well is working again, so I don't look like a fool on live television 2 days in a row. So here we go. This is what we're going to do. Somebody is going to win. I tested it out this morning. It worked. What the F is going on here? I don't know. Oh no, it logged me out. We lost it. Oh no. Oh my God. We can't win. We cannot win with Bitcoin well so far. Okay, well, we're going to do it again anyways, but I had 500 sats up on the screen that I was going to give. I didn't claim them because I was going to give them to somebody early on in the show. And then it logged me out. It timed out. Anyways, let's get coffee. Hold on. Already entertain people here for a second. Entertaining folks. Where's my coffee? Coffee's missing. That can't be. Oh, it's still. All right, come on, buddy. We need the coffee. Look at Arn. Confused. I wish I could do like a zoom in on his face. Confusion. All right. Timber Crasher's here. Good morning. One of our Bitcoin journeymen. Shout out to the Bitcoin journeyman. Number on there is growing every day, so that's good. Good to see. Sahachi, good to see you, my friend. Kevin, Silver Fox, and Rick Costa. Great name. Great name, great guy. And what's happening over on the Zaps? Anybody over there? Couple. Did I share it on NOSTR? Oh, yeah. Everything's loading. Okay. So let's go. We're not actually, we'll do some metrics quickly, and then we'll get to our giveaway. I'm making a lot of empty promises on the show. I'm sorry. My goodness. Smash the like while we wait. That's a great idea. We got a couple people in here. It is Friday. If you do nothing else today, you could like the show. You could zap the show. Give yourself some good karma. You deserve it. Show deserves it. The channel deserves it. Okay, let's see who's been liking. So we're currently at block height 855090. The Brains pool just mined the last one. That's good to see. I think. I'm still navigating the mining industry myself. We're going to talk a bit about mining today. But I think that the Brains pool is a good one. There's a couple different types. There's lots of ant pool. We haven't seen an ant pool in the last 4 blocks. They're probably freaking out over an ant pool. They're probably freaking out. Okay, let's see who's been liking. We got about 75% of the chat today who's liked it. So for this Friday, let's have a like. Let's have some zaps. Let's get things going. Let's answer some questions. And let's further ourselves a little bit more in our Bitcoin journey. Fees today, still incredibly low. 4 sats per rebyte. The miners are feeling it. Hash price at an all-time low. The difficulty adjustment at an all-time high. The price is not moving. And the fees are not that high either. So it's a tough time to be a miner unless you're running a BitAxe. Then it's just another day. Because with the BitAxe, it hardly uses any sort of electricity. Very low odds of winning, but as we saw last week, it is possible. So if you're a Bitcoiner, you want to support the network, decentralized network, have a chance, a lottery chance to win 3 Bitcoin plus, and get yourself a BitAxe. And if you need one, check the description below. There's a Bitcoin Journey store that's hooked up with Solo Satoshi. They have the best prices. They very fast shipping and very good customer service. So that's where my BitAxes are from. And I know that there's a lot of people in this community who have been buying from Solo Satoshi. So you can click it. It just says BitAxe, and then it takes you to the Bitcoin Journey store, and you can buy it there if you're in Canada, the US, or Australia. Okay. So just like we do every Friday, we're going to do a Q&A today, a live Q&A. We got some Bitcoin talk. We got some mining talk. We got some NOSTR talk. Lots of questions that I have. But here's the thing. I really want to reward people who are in the chat for these live shows. So if you have any questions, if you have any things to discuss, any comments about anything, don't limit it to Bitcoin. The beauty of this show is that it goes much beyond Bitcoin. It's kind of the main underlying theme here, but we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Hopefully, if you have a daily show, you got lots to talk about. All right. So here we go. First question. I don't see any in the Zapdos stream, but I do see some zaps. So let's check this out. Let's see who's zapping over there right now. I just see NPubs. Uh-oh. One disappeared on me. I saw somebody zap 2.1 thousand sats, but it disappeared. Oh no, Daddy-O. I got her back. Daddy-O with a 2.1K sat zap. Thank you, Daddy-O. I appreciate that, my friend. We got RJ over there as well, Letha and Daniel. RJ says, I believe my energy costs for the BitAxe are about 6 cents per day running 24/7. There you go. So if you're running a BitAxe right now, you're not too affected by the drop in hash price. It's just fun to be part of the network. I got one of them hooked up. I'm going to do the other one today. And I don't know. I'm a bit of a nerd, obviously, and I think that a lot of Bitcoiners are nerds. I'm sure if they did a study on Bitcoiners, we would have a lot of similar characteristics. We wouldn't necessarily agree on, the majority of things, but I think the core of us would be very similar. I think that. A little bit of nerds, a little bit of, well, I don't even know what you call it. Some say on the spectrum. I don't think I'd go that far. But we're very similar. I mean, at the end of the day, all humans are pretty similar. I like thinking about that, whether it's, you're having a bad day and somebody pisses you off. You just have to remember that we're all going through this whole thing together. But the other side of it too is that when you're meeting with somebody or you're presenting in front of somebody and you get nervous or intimidated by people, one of my favorite lines, I think he was from The Magic of Thinking Big, my favorite book. But he said just to, just keep in mind that we're all just human, and the person that you're sitting across from is very similar to you. They probably, like being at home, like good food. We all share the same kind of underlying core principles in our life, and most people are good. So it's when you keep that in mind when you're meeting with somebody, when you're intimidated by somebody, it's just another version of you. So I don't know where that came from or what happened there, but anytime we can chat about the magic of thinking big, we take it. All right. It's enough. It's enough blabbing for today. All right. First question here. First comment, I guess. From Joke and Joe. Joke and Joe, prankster. He says, I have over 1 Bitcoin, but I occasionally buy tiny fractions like 50,000 sats because I realize how scarce this is and what the price will be. Those 50,000 sats could be life-changing money for someone 20 or 30 years from now. So a couple things there that I wanted to point out. I like look at all the comments every Friday morning or Thursday afternoon, and I kind of go through the comments that we can expand on a little bit. So this one, first of all, Joke and Joe. You never tell, the first rule of Bitcoin, you never tell anybody how much Bitcoin you have. That's number one. I mean, you might do things differently. I'm never going to tell you what to do. But I think the best practice for the average person who doesn't have armed guards outside the house is just never tell anybody how much Bitcoin you have. Anybody. Not your brother, not your dad, not your cousin when you're drunk at a wedding. Nobody. Just don't ever say it to anybody out loud. And even better practice than that is don't even know how much Bitcoin you have. Just set up some wallets, exchange every fiat dollar that you can for Bitcoin, accumulate it, think long-term, 5 years, and just earn and accumulate as many sats as possible. And then I don't know if you ever have to figure out how much you have. Just get out of that mindset of switching to Bitcoin and wanting to get X amount of Bitcoin, and then you're just going to go back to the fiat world. No, just every dollar you make every excess dollar you have, convert it to Bitcoin. Start setting up ways to earn sats, whatever that is, whatever you can do. We're going to talk about a few things today, and then just keep growing it. You don't have to. Looking at your Bitcoin amount of Bitcoin is very similar to like checking the scale every day. If you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to gain weight, if you're looking at the scale every day, you're going to be very discouraged, I think. Look over it, just do the work, go through the process, and then at the end of it, you might never have to know how much Bitcoin you have. Just make sure that it's safe. That's the key. If you have any Bitcoin right now, you're way ahead of most people on this earth. So don't worry about how much you have, or don't tell anybody how much you have, even if you know. But the second part there, he says, I occasionally buy tiny fractions like 50,000 sats because I realize how scarce this is. Yes, he says 50K sats could be life-changing money for someone in 20 or 30 years from now. Absolutely. It could be less than that. I mean, when Bitcoin gets to 1 sat equals $1, then you got $50,000 worth of purchasing power right there. And what is $50,000 of purchasing power by today? I mean, that would do a hell of a lot for me right now. I'd probably buy a truck. So you got 50,000 sats that you bought back in 2024 for what would that be, like $50? And if you go in with a long enough time frame, long enough horizon there, that's going to buy you some serious shit, because as we talked about yesterday, everybody is going to want what you're holding. Everybody on earth. Not everybody in this local area here, not everybody in your country, everybody on earth is going to want that asset. So it's not a matter of if that happens, it's really when that happens. I see Daniel has joined the 1000 sat club over in zap.stream. Thank you, Daniel. And I see Last Das over in zap.stream, zap 2.1 thousand sats. Thank you very, very much, you two. Appreciate it. Daddy-O says, great point. Now send me my 2100 sats back. No, but that's true. And I mean, any chance you can get like that. So there's this exchange in Canada here called ShakePay. And I know that ShakePay has had some issues there. They've got hacked, I think, once or twice. They're very compliant with the government, we'll call it. But I still use them. I shake my phone every day, win some free sats. But the other thing that I've been doing is I actually set it up for, it's called Roundup. So if you're in Canada here, this is, pay attention for a sec. There's a feature on ShakePay called Roundup. So you can load your ShakePay card. I think the US version of this is the Fold app. But you can load up your prepaid. So I pay for pretty much everything with my ShakePay card because you earn sats back. But the other feature there is you can actually round up. So you can say that if I'm making a purchase, you can take the next $3, round it up to the next $3 even number, and take the split there and buy a Bitcoin with that. So I'll just show you a very quick example, just so we have something hard here that we can discuss. I'll show you a recent purchase that I made and how much Bitcoin I got for it. All right, where are we here? Roundup. Okay, so I bought a beer yesterday. Fucking beers are so expensive now. I think it's like $8 for a beer here at the golf course. But this one ended up costing me $11 because I had my $3 roundup on. And so it took the beer and then it rounded it up to $3. So I bought $2.60 worth of Bitcoin for 2,833 sats. So I got 2,833 sats there for buying a beer. I added up the 260 on top of that. And I feel like over time, you know, it doesn't seem like much, but you do that on every purchase you make. You buy $3 worth of Bitcoin without even really noticing it. And that shit adds up. So that's just a tip for anybody in Canada here. Get the ShakePay. I wouldn't recommend like buying and selling on there, but you can earn a lot of free sats for using ShakePay. Okay, Daniel zapped 21 sats and said, what do you think about Cantor Fitzgerald's Bitcoin finance business? Buy, borrow, die. I haven't seen that one. I did see somebody named Cantor though yesterday, so maybe I did come across that. I'm not really familiar with it, Daniel. Maybe elaborate if you can in the chat a little bit. Okay, so that was from Joke and Joe. A couple things I wanted to talk about there. Why is the screen? I feel like I have to like. All right, next one here. So this was on a video about the unrealized taxes that we were talking about the other day. And so MeltUp says, as soon as the portfolio hits so I should give more context here. The unrealized gains, what they were talking about is that anybody in Australia, the UK, I don't know, a big country, they were talking about any amount over $2 million, I think, of unrealized gains you have to pay tax on. So we talked about how crazy it is. The government prints money, they inflate the prices and values of everything, and then they charge you tax on the capital gains for that. So they're going to start doing this for anybody who has over $2 million in their pension. They're going to start taxing pensions, unrealized gains in pensions. They created this problem. Now they're going to take even more from you. But MeltUp said as soon as the portfolio hits 2.5 million, people will dump the stocks to stay under the unrealized tax. And the uber rich will send excess money offshore. And I just wanted to make a comment on this because this is absolutely going to happen. And so these countries, because they're getting more and more desperate as the fiat dollar continues to deteriorate here, what these countries are going to be doing is they're going to be taxing the rich. But the rich are not stupid people. So they think they're going to get all this tax money from the rich people with people over $2 million in their pension. But what's going to happen? As soon as they get to that threshold, they're either going to sell it to stay under that tax and actually get the proceeds from it, or which is probably what they want to do. But the other thing is that they're actually just going to take their money to, like, what is it? The Caymans, There's a few places on earth that have very low or zero tax rates. So somebody in like the UK, if they implemented this, they would just move their wealth offshore. And so it's a net negative for the country because they think they're going to get all this tax from the rich people, but they're actually going to lose these people. They're going to move their wealth to a different country. So this whole game theory between the government needing more tax, trying to tax the rich, the rich people leaving, meanwhile, Bitcoin's kind of coming underneath all of that. It's going to be wild. It's going to be wild. So that was I just wanted to make a comment on that, just to help people understand a little bit more of the game theory of here, what's going to play out with the governments. And the governments who fail to understand this and fail to embrace Bitcoin are going to be in trouble. How many countries are there? 270? Countries are going to be like shit coins. I'm serious. Like everybody thinks that, well, I shouldn't say everybody, but there's a lot of people who think that the fiat dollar is going to die. I don't think that it is. I think we're just going to consolidate a lot of these countries into the US, China, Russia. I don't know if Canada will survive. I really don't. It'd be better off for us if we got swallowed up by the US, I think. Because this is the other thing you have to keep in mind. And I thought of this when I was crossing the border the other day. But like, I get the fact that you want to have borders. But like, when your landscape, we were driving through North Dakota, looked exactly like Manitoba. Then we got into like the Badlands, which is more like Montana or Alberta, Saskatchewan. But it's just like we put up these invisible borders for what? Like the laws are completely different if you travel 5 kilometers in one direction. You can't cross the border with something that's legal 5 kilometers away, but not on this side. It makes no fucking sense. You should have secure borders around like the oceans to keep people out of there. But like, there's really no reason that the US and Canada should be two different countries. So I really think that there's going to be a big consolidation of countries, mostly because a lot of them will just fail to comprehend what's happening. Okay, let me catch up on a few comments here. Muslim Bitcoiner, good morning. Finally made it live. I saw him. Daddy-O's over in both chats. Like to see that. Empty promises. Okay, speaking of that, speaking of empty promises, let's do our Bitcoin well giveaway. Let's take a little break here. RJ says, oh no, George's a globalist. No, definitely not. Definitely not a globalist. I think that you have to have, maybe I explained that wrong. I definitely don't think that we should all have the same rules, the same currency. That's why I don't think Bitcoin will be like the only currency that we use. Because there has to be different countries. There has to be different cultures. There has to be different, subsets. But to me, it just doesn't make any sense that to go from Manitoba to North Dakota 5 kilometers away, and there's completely different laws there. So I don't know. And the other thing that Bitcoin is going to do is it's really going to connect the world through the internet. It's going to be the currency of the internet. And I think that they're just going to have a very hard time taxing that going forward. Like if I wanted to pay somebody in Sweden to design a logo for me, how is that going to be treated? So as much as you need to have like your cultures, your secure borders, I just don't know if it's, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, honestly. I definitely don't want you to think that I'm a globalist because I couldn't be further from that. So maybe I worded it poorly. It just, I don't know. I just feel like Canada and the US could be one big country, and then states and provinces within those could kind of have their own laws. But I don't know. I'll never be a politician, so it doesn't really matter what I think. But anyway, so let's get to the Bitcoin Well giveaway for today. I did test it this morning, and it worked. And I lost 500 sats. 500 sats were burned today. because I was trying to save them for somebody at the start of the show. I should have just claimed them and then give them to somebody. Okay, let's do this. Cross your fingers. Get your phones out. Cross your fingers. Cross your toes. Let's do this. So get your Lightning wallet open up. You could use Wallet of Satoshi. You could use Mini Bits. You could use Mutiny, Phoenix. And the fastest thumb today is going to win some free Bitcoin. What's this mean? So the Bitcoin wishing well, you are being transported back to 1996 when Space Jam is bringing together basketball and cartoons. Okay. Let's redeem it. Oh, I thought it was going to freeze there. 500 sats. We finally got it to work. Round of applause for the Bitcoin well and the Bitcoin journey. So hopefully somebody's claimed that by now. I kind of feel bad for the people who watch this on the audio because they have to put up with a bunch of this bullshit. But show up to the live show, I guess, audios. So I'm going to try to claim this and see if it's been claimed. Gone. Somebody got it. Okay, so speaking of Bitcoin journey and Bitcoin well, let's sign out of this and then let's go to Bitcoin well and see what it says. This is how the whole thing started with Bitcoin well, because I went to create an account and I saw at the top here, start your Bitcoin journey. And so I reached out to Adam, a fellow Canadian here. Great guy. I like Adam a lot. And I said, seems like a match made in heaven. Bitcoin journey, Bitcoin well, start your Bitcoin journey. So anyways, if you're in Canada or in the US, go to bitcoinwell.com/Jor. Very good exchange. They got 1% fee. Very simple. Nothing hidden there. Non-custodial. Every sat you buy on Bitcoin well, you can send directly to your cold storage. And one of their incentives for using Bitcoin well is that you have these different initiatives where you can refer a friend, you can take a quiz. They have different things like they did a bet on the Stanley Cup, and you can actually earn those free tosses into the wishing well. And every wishing well toss gets you at least 500 sats and up to 1 million. So use that code and you actually get bitcoinwell.com/Jor, and you actually get 5 free tosses right off the hop into the well for some free sats. So big shout out to Bitcoin well. We finally got her working there today. Okay, let's see what Daniel's got here. Cantor. I don't really want to read all of this. I don't want to bring it up. So I'll read the first couple paragraphs here. I'll bring it up. It's easier for people to read. So keep in mind, I've never seen this before. I do not support this blindly, but we'll see what Daniel's got cooking here. So Cantor Fitzgerald to launch a Bitcoin financing business. Cantor Fitzgerald today announced plans to launch a Bitcoin financing business to provide leverage to investors who hold Bitcoin. The firm will launch with $2 billion in initial financing and will continue to substantially grow the operation. What's next here? It said the exact same thing twice. Cantor Fitzgerald arranges and finances vast amounts of securities and commodities, and as strong supporters of Bitcoin, will now build an incredible platform to support Bitcoin investors' financing needs, said Howard Lutnick, chairman of Cantor Fitzgerald. We're excited to help unlock Bitcoin's full potential and continue bridging the gap between TradFi and digital assets. TradFi, of course, short for traditional finance. So that's pretty interesting. That's about the end of it for us. I think that where I saw this guy before, I'm pretty sure he did a speech at the Bitcoin conference. I'm pretty sure he was the guy who said Cantor Fitzgerald holds a shitload of Bitcoin. So that's pretty cool. What else did Daniel have to say about it there? Their big financial institution kind of became famous in 9/11 since they had an office in one of the towers and got hit hard. Interesting. Daniel says, buy, borrow, die is a concept that attempts to explain how wealthier people are able to hold on to their wealth by minimizing what they pay in taxes. Yeah, that's kind of the Robert Kiyosaki playbook. Because if you think about it, if you need cash, I think this is just good financial advice for anybody who has access to it. But if you need cash, let's say something comes up in your life, and instead of cashing out some of your investments and paying tax on that, the one thing that you could do is you just go to the bank and you say, I have this investment account, the one that you're going to sell. I have this. Here's my collateral. Here's my security. I would like to take out a loan, line of credit. And then the bank gives you money. So if you cash out your pension, you pay tax on that. If you use that pension as collateral and take out a loan, you don't pay any tax on the loan. You do pay interest, but I think that's a lot less than a 30% right off the hop. So that's always the best advice, I think, if you have the ability to do that, is to borrow against it. And I really think that that's where a lot of people are going to be going for their Bitcoin stuff. Same idea. Daniel says, my take on it is if you're willing to accept some third-party risk and have a stack of KYC Bitcoin, you can use it like Sailor to leverage your Bitcoin for things like buying land, a house, or more Bitcoin. Although I don't know if they'd let you do that or not, unless you're Michael Saylor with a couple of yachts. Anyways, my path to fire is over there as well. It's up to 121 sats. All right, so we got a couple more minutes on here, and then we're going to hit the road. Sachi says, kind of hard to scoop the wall when I'm watching on my phone. How the heck would I do it? Yeah, I don't think you can, unless you got a backup phone. That's what I would suggest. Every time I get a new phone, I just keep my old phone. So I have like a couple different phones that I use, just hooked up to Wi-Fi. Some will have Bitcoin wallets on them. Don't ever give your phone back. It's a good lesson. I don't know. I just think that for me, one of it is like, I don't know what they can do with that. Like, I mean, I'm not a real techie guy. I'm not sure what kind of privacy things are built into that and how much if you actually sweep your phone and how much if it sweeps. But the other part there is like everything that I've ever sold in my life, I've always regretted. Things like that. Like I sold a set of golf clubs, Nike Victory Red golf clubs when I was in college. Full set. I think I sold it for $300. And what did that get me? Like a week's worth of groceries. I'm trading like this beautiful set of golf clubs that I would love to have today. Traded that for $300. That probably just went to beer, pizza, and groceries and gone. Crapped it out the next day. Like, that's what I mean. If you actually like something or you think that something could be valuable in the future, maybe I'm a bit of a hoarder, but that's just kind of my take on it. And then you can use your phones for different things like Bitcoin wallets. I think that that's a really good way to, instead of carrying around a bunch of Lightning on your main cell phone, you just download a Phoenix wallet or a wallet of Satoshi on your other phone and just leave it at the house. You don't have to worry about flushing it down a toilet or something or leaving it in a cab. Muslim Bitcoiner says, accept your wife and kids. Sorry, I'm a little bit behind here. We're talking about telling people about Bitcoin. Honestly, your wife for sure needs to know that you have Bitcoin. Does she need to know exactly how much you have? I don't know. Give her a ballpark number. But that's the thing for me. Like I said, I don't even know how much I have. So, I mean, it's one thing, I think, to be honest with them and say like, yeah, we have some Bitcoin. It's kind of our main holding for our retirement and the rest of our life. So hopefully it does well. But I don't think they need to know like that you have 67 million sats or whatever that is, especially not your kids, because kids, they don't understand what it is. They have a much different perspective of the world. And all they're going to do is go tell their friends at school how much Bitcoin you have. And then you're toast. Akil says, can you recommend something like ShakePay in Europe? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe somebody from Europe can answer that question. All I know is ShakePay in Canada and then Fold in the US. So hopefully somebody can answer that. Maybe there's got to be some people from Europe in here. Okay. So we got a couple more questions here. Okay, we're gonna extend the show a little bit today because I want to answer at least 2 of these questions on YouTube today. So this is a question from Badger Seed. It says, could you please do a video on how to get started with NOSTR for a newbie? I've looked at the website and still don't understand how to use it. So I'm thinking about doing like a half-hour show, not a show, but like a video myself on NOSTR. Just going over like best practices, the initial setup, kind of everything that you need to know as somebody who's just trying to get into it. But for the purposes of this show, what I would tell you is that it's very easy. NOSTR, when you hear the word NOSTR, when you try to understand what it is, it can be a little bit overwhelming. But it is the easiest thing that you'll ever set up in your life. Because if you wanted to go set up a Facebook account, if you wanted to go set up a Proton Mail account, if you wanted to set up a bank account, like these things are a lot more difficult to do than setting up a NOSTR account. But we're just so used to those other ones. They're just very normal to us, whereas NOSTR is not so much. But all you're going to do with NOSTR, I'll give you a very simple 3-step plan if you're somebody out there who's trying to get set up on NOSTR, which I believe is going to be the next version of the internet. And if you can get set up on there today and you can start building a community on there, whether you're a content creator or you just like connecting with other Bitcoiners, NOSTR is by far the best place to be hanging out. So very simple. Number 1, if you have an iPhone, go to the App Store on your iPhone, download an app called Damus, DAMUS. Okay, that's number 1. If you're on Android, download Amethyst. I'll make sure I get the spelling right here of it. I think it's called the Google Play Store. Yeah. So it's AMETHYST, Amethyst. Looks like a little duck. Hold on, make sure I can see it here. Looks like a little duck. See it there, Amethyst. Lots of Bitcoin stuff on my phone. And then if you're on iOS, this is an old version, but it's DAMUS, Damus. More Bitcoin stuff. Can you believe that? It's a little purple one there. Damus. So that's all you need to get started. And then so if you go to Amethyst, you can create an account. You can create as many accounts as you want. You don't have to enter your name. You don't have to connect it to your phone number. You don't have to even have an email address. You can just click create new account. And what that's going to do is going to generate a public key and a private key, just like Bitcoin address, just like a Bitcoin wallet. That's essentially what you're doing when you create a NOSTR account. So if you've ever set up a Bitcoin wallet, it's the exact same thing. So this is what I would do. I would just get started, create an account. You're going to get an npub. That's like your username. You're going to get a NSEC, it's called, security key or a private key. And that's like your password. So you want to keep track of both of those, put them into like your Evernote or whatever that is. You don't have to protect it like you would a Bitcoin address right off the hop. Don't worry about that. I mean, if you get really into it, you build a nice following on there, then definitely write it out on a piece of paper just as a backup. But don't overthink it. Just get set up, create an account. You can find me on there. So from there, this is where things are a little bit different on NOSTR because there's no like suggested accounts. There's no algorithms. You can't just log on there and you're going to see a bunch of stuff that they think is relevant to you. You actually have to seek out your own stuff. So in your profile there, you have your npub. It starts with npub. That's your like your username. Essentially, you can create whatever username you want, but that's how people will find you. And then, so if you're an Amethyst, just click the search button there, copy and paste my NPub from my description in the video below here. It says NOSTR NPub, search me on there. And then one thing you could do just to get started is like, look at I'm following like 700 people on there. So you could just go through my list of following and just follow a whole bunch of people on there just to get started. You can always mute them. You can always unfollow them later, but that's how you're going to really get some sort of traction on there, is by actually following people and interacting with people on there. Relays, I wouldn't worry too much about relays right off the hop. That's something you can figure out down the road. But for the most part, if you download Damus or Amethyst, it's going to look almost identical to like a Twitter feed, except there's no algorithms there. It's all just chronological order based on time. So you can look at everybody, you can find global, you can try different clients. There's like the other one I use on Android is called NOSTR. It's a good one too. But honestly, just play around, just get yourself set up on there, interact, follow some people, play around, post some pictures. It's a much different dynamic than like a Twitter or a Facebook account. I love it though. I spend 90% of my online time on NOSTR. It's just where the Bitcoiners are. It's where you can learn things. It's where you can ask people things. It's where you can connect with people like Jeff Booth or Preston Pish or Matt Odell. Like it's where you need to be right now if you're a Bitcoiner, especially a content creator. Like, as I talked about the other day, we went almost 3 years on YouTube without making a dime. And we streamed on the NOSTR on Zap.stream last week, and some random person zapped us 2,100 sats. Like if you're creating content, if you're adding any sort of value to people, or you want to be, NOSTR is the place to be. And somebody asked me a question on the YouTube, said, I'm a 15-year-old trying to accumulate Bitcoin and I want to move to Thailand. What should I do? And the beauty about NOSTR is that here this is how cool this is. With traditional legacy media, like whether that's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, if you're 15 years old, you're going to have to convince your parents to set up an account for you. If you're earning any sort of money, they're going to need your parents' bank or your bank information, social security number. They're going to need all that, because if you're 15 years old, you're not allowed to earn money online, fiat money. But you spin up a NOSTR account, they don't ask, nobody knows your age, which, I mean, can be dangerous, of course. You need to have some sort of parental controls there. But if you're 15 years old and you want to start posting pictures, videos, content, whatever that may be, you don't need the approval of your bank to be 18 years old, or you don't need YouTube's approval to be 18 years old to have somebody send you money. Anybody could. You could be 15, you could be 85 years old. You don't have to tell anybody that. But if you're adding value and people give it back to you, that's it. There's no middleman there. But the one last thing I would say about NOSTR is just you can't delete posts. So be aware of that. Be very particular. Be very attentive to what you're posting on there, because you can't delete them. It's just like a Bitcoin transaction. Once it's broadcast, it gets sent out to every person running a Bitcoin node in the world. And it's the same with NOSTR. Once you make that post, it gets broadcast out to all the different relays that you're connected to. It doesn't go to a centralized server like Twitter would and store it there. It just gets broadcast out. And so you cannot go back and change post. So just be aware of that. And the other part of that is that just make sure you're paying attention to what you're saying on there. Don't censor yourself, but as I was just talking about there, when we get rid of the middleman, the only thing we have there is our reputation. That's what do they call it? The web of trust. That's the world that we're moving into, a web of trust. There's no longer middlemen there who get to determine whether you're a good party or a bad party, good actor or bad actor. There's no middleman there. So it's your reputation that's going to allow you to unlock NOSTR's potential, whether you're posting on there, whether you're selling things on Marketplace, whether you're hiring somebody on there. Your NOSTR reputation, your NPub, is going to be the only thing that people can rely on. There's no middleman anymore. So just pay attention to that. Make sure that you're doing things the right way. I mean, you can always get rid of your NPub and spin up a new one and start fresh. But I think we're at the point now where if you are here now, this is the best chance of like making something of it. Think about like TikTok, Instagram, in the very early days before anybody else was there. That's where all the money was made. Same within Bitcoin. So that's what I would say on that. Daniel says Domus is not great for folks in the US because you can zap. So there you go. Try out Primal then. If you're on iOS in America, try out Primal. And then, so from there, you've created an account, you've followed some people. The next thing I would do there is connect your Lightning address to it. So get like a LB account. You need to have a Lightning address. So you could use like Wallet of Satoshi, whatever one says like at something. I think it's a Lightning address. Like Jor at Wallet of Satoshi, King Golf at Wallet of Satoshi, Adopted Son 98. Might be dead. Adopted Son 98 at walletofsatoshi.com. That's your Lightning address. So then you just go into your profile within NOSTR, you connect that address, and then everything from that will flow into your Lightning address. Anytime somebody zaps you, it flows into that account. So Plunger zapped 1,000 sats. He joins the 1,000 sat club today. Thank you very much. Sound like Elvis there. All right, I think I'm going to be cutting this off here in just one sec. We got Crypto Shrimp in the chat this morning. Says, happy Friday, everyone. Hope we are all having a fantastic start to the long weekend here. Cheers. I still don't have any Baileys here. I feel like buying Baileys would make me short Bitcoin. And Crypto Shrimp says, just a reminder that at a price of 65,000 Bitcoin, you can get 15,384 sats for $10. If you are new, start small and build over time. And that's exactly what I'm going to be talking about in this next part of the show today. We got some talk. We're already 47 minutes in, but it feels like it's going to be a long one today. There's lots to talk about, lots of questions. I'm thinking we'll be around for another 45 minutes. So I'm going to cut off the YouTube channel here today. But very easily, if you want to keep watching this, you can either join the Bitcoin Journeyman on YouTube. It should say join somewhere in the channel there. And then you just go to my main feed and it should give you the full link. So you can do that every day. $3 a month. You get the full show uninterrupted, no ads by joining the Bitcoin Journeyman community there. So that's one option. The second one would be to join Living in the Future. If you want a little bit more, you want to be part of the community there, Living in the Future. A bunch of really cool things going on there. We probably have about 60 plus people in there combined. So if you need help with anything, if you just want to talk about Bitcoin with other people, like I know I've said this before, but it's so true. When I first got into Bitcoin, I had nobody to talk to. Nobody. Like none of my friends were. I didn't have any sort of connections online to Bitcoiners. And it's a very lonely place. So in the Living in the Future, we got a couple different group chats. We got a couple different ventures we're starting up. It's just there's some health stuff. There's some mining stuff. There's some Linux stuff. Whatever you want to be a part of here, there's going to be somebody who can help you with that. And I would say, like, I haven't checked the chat for a while now, but every time I'm away for 6-10 hours, there's usually like a couple hundred messages in there. You don't have to participate. You don't have to contribute, but you can just be a fly on the wall in there and see what kind of links people are sharing. It's an awesome place. And I know that anybody who's part of that community would attest to that. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there anymore. So that's option 2. You can find links to that in the show notes. It should say Living the Future. You can head over there. And it gives you quite a bit of access. It gives you actually 20 videos, part of the Bitcoin Journey course. as well, which I haven't really talked about on here, but I should do that more. So with Living the Future, you get access to all that, every video, plus the Bitcoin journey course, 20 videos, kind of like for anybody out there who's just starting out and wants to go through the whole thing. It's pretty cool. I did like a Bitcoin for investors, Bitcoin for farmers, Bitcoin for businesses, and then a whole bunch of different things for transactional purposes, like Lightning Wallet, Sparrow Wallet. Pretty good stuff. And then the third option is just head over to Zap.stream for free. Because I want to give everybody the opportunity, if you want to watch it for free. So that's the third option there. Anton says, how old are you? As if I'm going to answer that. Guess how old I am. If anybody can guess, I'll tell you. I've actually said it on the show before. But okay, let's check on Zapstream quickly here, and then we're going to hit the road. All right. So with that, I'm 35 years of age, born in 1988. Partially the reason why this channel is called 88 Sats. I love the number 8. I was born on the 8th too. The 8th hour of the 8th day of the 88th year. No, I don't know. I don't know if I was born on the 8th hour or not. I actually texted my mom last birthday I had, and I said, what time was I born? She said, no clue. Thanks. I was her firstborn too. So anyways, YouTube, thanks for being here. Thanks for the questions today. If you want to continue watching here, I just told you the 3 ways to do it. We have at least 5 or 6 more questions from these alone. So we got, if you want to continue the chat here on Friday, pour another coffee and join one of those 3 ways. So thank you, YouTube. We'll see you possibly Monday, possibly Tuesday, but we'll see you sometime. Have a great weekend, especially here in Canada. Is it a long weekend in the States? I don't know. Everybody have a great weekend regardless. We'll talk to you soon.